and make a wish upon you. Oh, darling. You said you loved me and I fell through the floor, but I love me too, so I walked out that door.
Don't leave yet.
I feel so confident in my skin. You make me confident when we're in, and I like it better when we sing, 'cause I'm just so comfortable when you're in my skin.
So my writing process whenever I do anything is I'm a little different. I tend to pull inspiration from anywhere. Well, I guess that's not too much different. I guess everybody does that. I literally can be out with friends having a great time. I can be having a horrible time. I can be out with strangers. I'll feel a specific way, and I always want to find out how I can make that sound like how I feel. So it's really complicated for me because I'll go in and I'll start with the beat, and I write with my beat. So I make the instrumental around what I'm writing. So I always have my WordPad app and I'll type up my lyrics as I progress through a beat. And as I come up with lyrics and melody and things, I'm always like, okay, it could use this. This word would sound better, and I go like that. And that's kind of how I arrange my songs and things like that. Writing Proud was a great example of that. I was involved with a person that made me feel good, but not in a way that it's like, oh, like I need them, or like I was in a relationship with them, or nothing like that. It was physical. And it was like they made me feel confident in my body. And I was going to the gym a lot at the time with my friend Steph. I was eating right, drinking water. I was just working gym, being healthy. Like I wasn't drinking as much, and when I had a good time, but I didn't go overboard, like, you know. And I wanted to know what that sounded like once again. And it started off with the intro, like that dun dun dun, that sort of bell-like sound. It sounded exactly the way that I wanted, and I wanted to make it very clear that it's kind of a double entendre. It's about sex in that sense, but it's not really the act of sex. It's more of the confidence that it can bring, because I feel like we get so caught up in sex being either meaningless or it being good, like emotion wise, like, oh, like, you know, the sex makes me fall in love with this person. And sometimes it's not like that. Sometimes sex is casual, and sometimes casual sex leads to confidence in many different areas of your life. And sometimes it's healthy, sometimes it's not. But like in this case, I had never experienced that healthily. I don't do that usually, so it was a step out of my comfort zone, and I felt very, very, very confident in myself.
So go on and make baby proud, proud, proud. So go on and make me, oh, I don't like that. Proud. Hey, give me that, give me that, give me that. Front to the back, you do me like that. Give me that, give me that. From the front to the back. Oh, that was bad. Keep doing it like that, hey, like that. Give me that, baby, I've been bad. Make it feel like crack, best I ever had. Daddy was no show.
So Glass House is the second track on the album, but first official song on the album. I remember no one got an idea of where I came from. No one knew who I was. And I have my best friends that know all these things. My mom is so cute. She's texting us in this GM. I have, you know, my best friends and my family that know these things about me. But like, nobody can actually say they know where I came from, how I was raised, why I come across the way I do, like all these personal things. So I wanted to take this as an opportunity to do that. And I was like, well, since this gives me very first song vibes, because I do that sometimes, not with every song, but I can usually hear a song and be like, oh, that's an opening track. Oh, that needs to, that's how I want to start my album. And I was struggling with that too, because I had no songs. I always struggle with the first song on the record because it's a statement that you have to make. And I was like, is this really, I didn't know what I wanted to say. And once I made this song, that was it. It was immediate. So everything else after that just kind of followed. And it was just a flow from then on, because I knew how I was going to start my album. I wrote 4 versions of that song. The original version, which I still have, the demo. That third verse, where it's like, sometimes you can't fix a home that's broke. That was actually a whole different verse. Where I was singing, but it was very like monotone. I didn't like it. We scrapped it just because, I don't know. I sent it to my older sister and she sent me back a text message about this long. That's long in phone form. And she just told me she liked the song. She was actually very proud of the direction I was going. She thought that was the kind of music that I should have been making. She said she felt like it suited my voice very well. And the thing about Janae is that she has the ear of some of the big name artists, like a big name talent. Like, she grew up with Missy Elliott and Timbaland and all these different musical influences. She had Gym Class Heroes and Linkin Park, and she listened to metal bands and hip hop and R&B and some pop music here and there, and you know what I'm saying, like stuff that was the mainstream that was on the radio. Like, she listened to all of that. So my big sister's ear is very, very prominent, and I love getting her input on things because her idea of stuff is very different. And I feel like she knows real music because she grew up in that genre and that time period where I wasn't there to know, like, firsthand how it felt to listen to a Fugees album for the first time, or how it felt to, you know, look up to Lauryn Hill like that. Like, I grew up in the Disney era of kids where it was Demi Lovato and Miley Cyrus and the Jonas Brothers and all these people who I love, and they're great now, and I look up to them as influences too. But that old flavor is where I try to, I feel like I lack a little bit of that, but I try to get her thought and input on it because she gives me that.
You knew me and maybe you don't give a f. I'm just hoping you hear this and respect all that I've overcome. Cause I think about things I cannot say. Things like the big brother I don't have, he didn't get to stay. Or his twin sister that couldn't breathe, couldn't see the day. How about my father's loving tears when we moved away? Thought I was an angel at one point, I could stop the pain, I could cure the world of all this noise, maybe stop the hate. I was just a kid and kids say things they can't explain. Did I make things worse? Man, I said she abused me. I'm sorry. You can't fix a home that's broke. Cause baby, there's too many stones that have been thrown. Yeah, I was young and so fragile. Game face, I wear masks now. Damon told me to chill out, swear he the best, all hands down. He was there when the lights were out, hurricanes had us stressing out. Did some things I don't talk about, but all I want is to make a proud.
I didn't want this to feel rushed, and I didn't want this to come out when I was 25, 26. I wanted it as soon as I possibly could. So I took the opportunity to teach myself how to mix, how to master, how to do all these things, even more than I was doing before. So everything was completely original. I tried to give myself what I couldn't give myself as a child. So when I was first starting to do this and I was like 10, 11 years old, I tried to be the person that I could look up to back then. And I think I'd like to say that I've successfully done that.
Okay, so I'm really excited because I just wrote a new song for my mom and my sisters, my dad, and I think
it's kind of corny, but I really like it. It's giving me these very happy, nostalgic, simple, how things used to be when I was like a kid vibes, and I love it so much. I wrote a line in there about San Diego, and I think my mom's gonna really love it. I don't know if she even knows that I remember that, or that I really appreciate that, but that was one of the most, that's one of my favorite memories I have of like her. Then we have Mom and Dad, which is another different song, and I downplay this song a lot. Like, I don't like it, but it's not that I don't like it, but I downplay it like it's not on the same level as the rest of them, because it was really just a personal message to my parents, like, you know. But really, every time I hear it, I can't skip it because it's just so beautiful. And it's a little more meaning to it than just my love for my parents. I made it an acoustic guitar song because when I was in a band and I was like 10, 11, I was in a band from 10 years old to all the way up until I was a junior in high school. So, oh wow, 16, 17. And that was probably the best moments of my life. I loved being in a band. With this song, I wanted to channel that. I wanted to channel the kid that they knew back then. And originally the song was called Kid, but I always name songs a demo title until I decide on like an actual title for a track, like track listing and stuff. And I think I did that, which is a simple guitar riff, anybody can play it, and I sang over it on this very soft but raspy high for me voice, because I don't have a high register very much. My mom can sing her ass off, but she actually does not have a falsetto either. So I wouldn't call it a falsetto, but I did something at the top of my register or whatever, or in the higher part of my register for this, because I wanted it to come across very soft spoken, very light, and very sentimental. And I think it's a good contrast to Glass House, because Glass House was this moment where I started the album. It was very dark, it was very honest, it was brutal, and it was serious, and I was shouting at my family, calling them out, and naming these things that had happened to me, you know, or that we had went through. And then we have Mom and Dad, and that came around full circle, like, you know, no matter what happens, I still love you guys no matter what. And the problems and the flaws, now that I'm older, I'm able to see that we have to go through that to get to where we are now. And it's crazy to think that when you're a kid, those aren't the things that go through your head. You know, we don't care so much about the logistics and all that stuff. We care about how it feels. But now that I'm an adult, certain decisions have to be made, and I would not have it as good as I do if I didn't go through those things. I think a lot of the lessons that I've learned came from the stuff that I went through, and I think that is amazing. I'm grateful, actually, and I don't love my parents any less. I don't love my stepfather any less. I don't love my real father any less. I don't love my mother any less. I don't love my sisters any less. I love them so much more, actually, because of all of that. I'm gonna make the second half about my dad, but I think I'm gonna go and leave that tomorrow. I'm just gonna get some rest and get back to it.